It's just kind of, I know you're kind of looking forward, don't really look back, but just up to this point, how have you kind of assessed how these guys have handled the season, especially league play since January?
Yeah, I understand the question, respect it. You understand from our point of view, we got a game on Saturday. Still got a lot to play for. Trying to get the best seed we can down in Nashville. So this thing's going to come down to, to get an automatic bid to the tournament, either winning 5 games or 4. Obviously, 4 is a much better path for us. So, trying to control what we control and trying to win on senior night. Then when we get to Nashville, trying to be one of those teams around the country that enters your conference tournament with a chance, And for us, it just continues to be like a process. Can we play Ole Miss basketball? And it sounds kind of simple, but it's really been one of our biggest obstacles. In last night's game, I agree with Break. We no excuse program. We had 7 or 8 guys in the rotation playing just like Georgia did, and we just didn't play well. From an offensive standpoint, just didn't finish around the basket, didn't play off of 2 feet, didn't play inside out. I think from a defensive standpoint, we knew that Georgia was a great cutting team, and just multiple times in both halves we have an individual mistake that leads to a basket. So give Georgia a lot of credit. I thought their character was on full display, in a season that I'm sure is not what they had drawn up in terms of wins and losses. They're sitting there playing their last home game, and they took advantage of the opportunity. So this is the chance that we have on Saturday, and just, there'll be time to reflect on all this stuff after the season, but there's no denying that we've increased attendance. We've improved the environment in the games. We've had great support from our students. I know Saturday is going to be a challenge with spring break happening, but just asking everybody to please, come support the team. And I know it's a lot easier to do when you're playing that last home game, trying to win the SEC regular season championship. That's not the reality that we're in right now. But I do think that these players are worthy of a good crowd on Saturday. These guys have tried. Break and Matt are going to graduate from Ole Miss in the spring. We're super proud of those guys. Sharp has been working on graduate work, Cole's graduate work, then Al's graduate work. So these guys have done a lot of good stuff academically for us this year as well. And we're just hoping we can have a great final home game of the season, and appreciate all you guys making sure that everybody knows tickets are available. It's a 1:00 tip, national television game with Jay Wright and those guys coming in here from CBS. So just a great opportunity for us, and I hope we respond. I was telling the guys earlier, we've got some fathers on this team, and hopefully every guy on our team will be blessed to be a father one day. And it's like, you wake up and it's your daughter's sixth birthday party, and that party's at 6:00, and it's the biggest thing in the world for her. There's been planning going into it. It's a big day, and on that day things don't go your way. Maybe you get a speeding ticket on the way to work, you get some bad news, maybe you're not feeling good, so does that mean you're just gonna not have a great birthday party for your daughter? No, you got to step up. You got to step up as a man, as a competitor, as a family member, as a leader. And so I think that's the challenge for us right now. Saturday, we'd much rather it be under a different tone, but it's our next SEC game. It's on the schedule. We're trying to get that bye in the first round of the tournament to give ourselves a position to maybe make some noise in Nashville. So a lot to play for. I think our players will embrace that, and I hope our fan base will embrace that. And as a coaching standpoint, you don't want to stand up here with a mic all year long just asking your fan base over and over to help you. But I guess that's exactly what I am doing. I'm asking Rebel Nation to please respond. Season ticket holders, please come to this game. If you can't make the game, please give your tickets to somebody that can come. Let's honor these 5 guys that have done a lot for Ole Miss. Let's try to get back on a winning streak before we go to Nashville.
Chris, if this team goes on that run in Nashville like you're hoping for, what will have changed?
Yeah, great question. I think we're going to have to show a level of discipline that we have not shown to this point in a 40-minute segment. We've had some great moments. There'll be time to reflect back on our season, some of the great games we played, halves we played, wins we played. But in my opinion, there still hasn't been one game where I walked off that court, regardless of what the scoreboard says, and says, hey, man, that was 40 minutes of disciplined basketball. So offensively, being strong with the ball, playing off of 2 feet, moving the ball, setting screens, executing the game plan. Defensively, getting back on defense, doing your job every possession, where we're not sitting around talking about effort or a playoff. We're talking about doing exactly what's supposed to be done every time it's done. So if I had to describe what an Ole Miss run would look like, that's where it would start. It would start by us, playing the game like we set it up to be played, with a discipline that's consistent. And again, I've enjoyed coaching these guys this year. I'm looking forward to Saturday in Nashville. But there's no denying, I think there's another gear that we could get to if we could have each player doing the right thing time after time. I'm not talking about making shots. I'm not talking about getting every call. I'm just talking about each time that you have an assignment to do, doing that assignment to the best of your ability. And that'll be the challenge tomorrow in practice. That'll be the challenge Saturday in this game, and then ultimately in the postseason, beginning in Nashville. I think disciplines are our plan. Whether we can get it done or not, we'll see.
You may have answered this partially. I know, very early on you set the bar as NCAA tournament. Obviously you mentioned kind of the uphill climb that it would take to get there to this point. But should that not have an NIT invitation rolled around, would your team accept that, or would y'all try to get a head start? As far as all the off season work comes, or is that too far ahead to look at?
Yeah, the only thing we're thinking about right now is 1:00 Saturday, Texas A&M. I would respectfully argue on that. I don't think I've ever come in here and set the bar at the NCAA tournament. We came to Ole Miss to win the SEC, to win 6 games in a tournament. To do that, there's some steps along the way. We've accomplished some of those steps this season, and we have some opportunity to continue accomplishing some of those steps this season. So, but you'll never hear me or anyone on our staff talk about the bar at Ole Miss being make the NCAA tournament. And if I said that at some point, I'd love for somebody to show me that. I might have been working on 1 hour's sleep and a bad chili dog or something. But yeah, that's not the goal in our program to make the NCAA tournament. Our goal is to be one of those teams that can win it.
If you knew the answer to this, you could write a book and sell it to every coach that's ever coached anywhere and walk off into the sunset. But you always talk about segments. Did ever you ever theorized in your mind on how a team can have like a really great segment? There's a timeout and they come out and just have a segment that looks nothing like the previous segment.
Yeah, all the time. My whole adult life. I just think at the core of everything is discipline. It's not talent, it's not game plan, it's just discipline, doing the right thing time and time again. Described to so many recruits and players over the years, like, what if basketball would have been invented differently? What if Dr. Naismith wouldn't have had this idea of the 32-minute game or 40-minute game? What if basketball was a one-possession game? Stay with me. We warm up for the game, and we play the school song, and we introduce the starters, and we walk out there, and on Saturday they hand Texas A&M the ball up top, and it's going to be one possession. After that one possession, maybe we have halftime, maybe we have a timeout, or maybe what's the lady that rides the unicycle that does all the?
Red Panda.
Yeah, I've been really disappointed this year that we didn't have Red Panda in Oxford, and certainly not blaming anybody. Actually, I'll take the blame. I should have made that well known to Keith Carter and Chancellor Boyce that we wanted Red Panda. Is that her name? Yeah. I heard the Speed Painter was really good though. Good? Yeah. Good, great, good. Great. Stay with me. We come out of timeout and halftime, and this is the way Dr. Naismith invented the game. Now we get the ball. And if one team is up 2-0, 1-0, 3-0, game over. If both teams have gotten a stop, or if both teams have scored, so the score is 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Now we play it again. So if the game was set up like that, would our team miss a blockout? It's one possession. Would our team have a turnover? Would our team take a bad shot? Would our team have a possession of lack of effort? Like, hey, Johnny, I know you played great tonight, man, but here's 3 plays you didn't play. That's human being, right? But if it was a one possession game, would we ever be sitting here talking about one of our players didn't play with effort on this one possession, or one of our players missed a block out, or one of our players, didn't guard the ball screen correctly? So what am I getting at? I'm getting at discipline. And so if you can do it one time, why can't you do it 2 times, 3 times? The answer is not disciplined enough. Maybe that's fatigue. I'm not disciplined enough to get in great shape so I don't get tired. But I would argue the only answer is discipline, right? It's not, and for us, it's not going to be lack of talent. It's not going to be like every guy does exactly what we want, but the other guy is just so much better than us. He makes the play. I just don't think that's the way this team this year is set up. I don't think talent was the issue. And so, it's that discipline. So to answer your question, I think about that all the time. And, when you start getting players that embrace that kind of mindset, that's when you can become one of those teams, that's good enough to win the SEC or good enough to win 6 games in 3 weekends.
Can you tell in the transfer portal, if you're recruiting a player, whether or not that player has the required discipline that you're looking for?
It's definitely not a 100% science, and it's not just the transfer portal. You can recruit a guy since he was in 8th grade. With each level of competition, a lot of intel goes into recruiting, and you do the best you can. But ultimately, it's to answer your question, not at a full science. I don't think there's any coach that the day of practice knows 100% what he has. That's why the season's a journey, not a destination. It's why improvement has to happen and people have to change. Change is a big word too in team sports. Like, here's where we are on opening night. And I don't care if you're the number 1 preseason team in the country or you're a team that's, not picked to do anything. It doesn't really matter where you start. It's about improving throughout the year. And another way to say improving is change, right? There's no other way to improve without making some changes. And so, it's just getting back to all these same things. It's the discipline. It's the ability to change. And this year's team, again, there'll be a time to reflect on this, but there's been a lot of good this season. There's a lot of opportunity for more good here in the next couple of weeks. But certainly, you think about last night's game, we just have to become a more disciplined unit. And I'm not sitting up here just throwing it all on the players either. Our staff's got to get better. I have to get better. We just got to get to the point where when we go out there, we know what we're getting.
Kind of building off of that, although there's still some games to be played, in what ways do you feel like this particular group may have laid a foundation as far as future teams here?
Well, I think one thing off the court, we've established here academically through Drew that, come to Ole Miss if you want to get a degree. Come to Ole Miss if you want to take care of your responsibility of being a student athlete, going to class and doing the right thing, and not only getting a degree. Come to Ole Miss if you have a dream or a vision for what you want to do after basketball one day. So we're not just checking the boxes around here. We're trying to motivate guys to get into degree plans and mentorships and, where there's kind of a, hey, this is what I'll do. I hope every guy on this team gets to play basketball as long as they want. But the reality of it is, even if you're an NBA Hall of Famer, you got half your life after basketball. So one thing we've done this year I've been really proud of is where we are academically, not just the team GPA and all that fluff, but real life stuff. Got 2 seniors on this year's team. They're both going to graduate. We're proud of that. Also shown an ability for guys that already have their degrees that are looking to come play college basketball for the last year or 2. We have real value for you. We've got graduate work, we have master's degree, we have certifications, so that's been one, off the court victory. I think our attendance is real. We've had one of the biggest jumps in attendance in Division I basketball. Our student section's been great. I'm so appreciative of cheer, pom, band, other sports teams. Coach Yo was supporting us the other night. That means the world to us. So we've done a lot, with our team in terms of attendance and creating an environment. Some nights, we've had the people in the seats, but I thought our environment's changing too. So it's always twofold in the battle to create one of the best home courts in college basketball. You got to get people in the seats, obviously, but what are the people in the seats doing? And so I think we're definitely going in the right direction there. I think basketball, we've had a good year in player development. We have guys right now playing their best year individually they ever have in basketball, and really appreciate the staff and ultimately the players putting in the work. We've established a culture of work here. Are we where we need to be? Nowhere close. but are we going in the right direction? We establishing a foundation? I think in a lot of ways we have.
Any more questions?
Appreciate it, guys.